I swear I didn't even make him do this, but I was about to do an opening shot and this guy decided to get right in the way. So today we are going to talk about tripods. So what I use, I have three, basically. I pretty much only use one of them for almost everything shooting wise, but we'll go over the specifics on what I like, don't like, and what I think is necessary versus not necessary when choosing a tripod. If you're trying to buy only American made, this video is not going to be for you. Everything I have is pretty much Chinese. It's all Leo Photo and Amazon stuff. So you could just stop here if you want really right stuff and all that stuff and you want to spend the more money and you can afford it. By all means, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I'm a poor man. I can't do that. So for shooting, I pretty much use these two because they have the same 75 millimeter pucks on the center. The reason is so I have this Leophoto level head for one. This is the STB 75, and then I have this, which is this tack table that is bolted into an empty one of their pucks that I have a bag on. This is what I run for NRL Hunter. This is what I run for PRS and ROing and everything else. If you want one buy option, it's this guy. Just buy this tripod. It's the best one for everything in my opinion. This is the 362C. The SO 362C. So the legs are inverted. It's a two-piece, pops out super fast. If you're doing NRL Hunter, it's already the right height for most rear support shots. Like, it's the game tripod, you know, the really right stuff. I think made it first, but Leophoto copied it. I don't really care. This is the one that, if you only want to buy one tripod, that's the one that I would buy. So what are these two good for? Well, this one's kind of specific and random and whatever. But so this one, I literally just bought this because I RO every NRL Hunter match that I shoot. This is a really good RO tripod because it collapses all the way down. Carrying this thing kind of sucks with a backpack because it's huge, but it pays for itself so fast, you know. Deploying, having to extend your legs and stuff on the clock sucks. So with this one, you hardly ever have to do that. This one, it's great for an RO tripod. It's super robust. I could hang my pack off the bottom of it when I have this guy, which doesn't have the hook on it. Bad example, but I have a strap thing that I made for around it. It hangs my pack on it. If you're ROing in high wind, it's great. It's super, super beefy. It actually weighs more than that one does, is the funny thing. A bunch of good uses. I really like this one, but like I said, it's pretty specific, but it is super beefy. And if you want one that can collapse small, that you could put an incredible amount of weight on, this is a really good option. I also don't know the part number though, sorry. Now, this one is interesting because this is the best bang for your buck tripod you could definitely buy. I have no idea what the name of it even is because I bought this off Amazon for like 80 bucks, I think, 80 or 90 bucks. It's carbon fiber, same design as every other tripod, you know, with the twist locks and everything on the bottom. It weighs nothing. I tighten the legs up so use it for stuff a little bit better. It doesn't have that big apex like these ones do, so they don't collapse very small. They have this big triangular shape to them, you know. This one is collapses much smaller. I use this sometimes for shooting stuff or ROing or whatever because this one gets really big. I'll show you in a second, but the big thing is I'll throw like my Salmon River table on this, just onto this Arca clamp that's just mounted straight to it. Or I have another ball head that's not here that it has an Arca clamp that I could clamp into this one. I use a bunch of different things, but I'll set lasers on it for work, cameras on it for making videos, you name it. I use this thing for all sorts of crap. This one actually probably gets more standardized random use, but this one definitely for shooting competitions. This is pretty much the only one I use. This one's super specific. I lend this out a lot if somebody needs one, but this one is more of, you know, kind of all over the place. That being said, I don't know what it's called. It's just some cheapo Amazon thing that was 80 bucks. Here is all three of them, folds all the way out. Like I said, this little one gets surprisingly tall for how tiny it is, but yeah, I could glass off of any of the three of these and I'm over 6 foot. So now I know weight limits are a really big deal to everybody because they like shooting off tripods and stuff like that, and I'm gonna probably bum everybody out with this one, but I don't really like to shoot off tripods. I don't think it's as stable as a lot of people act like it is. I run a big bipod, that hatch, so I just run a big bipod with a tripod rear. I feel like I could zero with that. It's stable as hell. So I do that. I almost never have to click in and shoot off the top of it or single bag off the top, but those two big ones can definitely handle that just fine. But the little one I probably wouldn't do that with. Now, you might have noticed that these legs are a little puffy, and that's because there is 2 layers of foam under this. I did this after I shot with my buddy Chad last year at a PRS match, and he had his 2-piece just like this wrapped in, so you can squish your stock into it and give you a little bit more bite. Now, personally, I'm not as stoked on it these days as I used to be. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing it that way. It works really well. The way that I like to shoot and stuff, I feel like I have to make little tiny micro adjustments when I use a tripod rear, and it just takes a lot longer. And when you're shooting NRL, and you know, for me at least, almost every single shot I use a rear support on, it's just those you know, little tiny seconds turn to hours. So I don't like to do it that way anymore. I don't really use those legs. I kind of switch the head around. So I just need to rip that foam off. But the rear Admiral bags, though, that's kind of the way that everybody's kind of moving towards these days, and that Armageddon gear makes. And that's obviously, it's pretty much the same thing, but you could zero off it. It's so stable. So that's the way that I would do it moving forward. If that last part doesn't make a lot of sense, then don't worry. I'm just going to make a positional shooting video one of these days that kind of shows all this stuff a little bit better. I'm just going to need a second person there to, you know, really help dial it in and stuff. But I think that would be helpful, especially for NRL, because I see a lot of people rear tripoding in a not efficient way. So yeah, we'll talk about that soon. Now, as far as what to avoid when buying a tripod and features and stuff like that, I personally, I don't like, I mean, click legs are the you know, the given one, the old school style of latch over legs instead of the twist locks. They take a lot longer. They're harder to fandangle under stress or under, you know, the pressure of the clock or whatever. So I would avoid those. And then the big thing that I think people don't talk about as much is I don't like anything that has the elevation lift on the top. It's just an extra wobble point. Those tripods, for the most part, are always less stable, and it's just another point of failure, in my opinion, because you break everything you use if you shoot in competitions at some point. So I would not want to give you know, the universe another way for my gear to break on me, since I'm so tough on everything anyways. Also, like, overly complicated ways of like ball head stuff or whatever. Like, I think just standard ball heads, inverted ball heads, level heads are all fine. I don't think any of them are better than the other ones. I think it's all just situational and what you're used to. I don't, you know, it's all subjective. I don't think that any, you know, I think anybody who's trying to argue that is just wasting their breath. But I think like some of the camera ones with the handles and all this other stuff, it's just something that could get caught on stuff, and it's also just like, they're just big. These are just my opinions, you know, maybe you like that, but anything that rises, any of the clips, I would avoid those. When I say rises, I don't mean the legs. I mean they have another, like a Z axis basically, that goes up and down right here with another post that could come up, and then that creates another wobble point. Closing statement. I think any of the reputable name brands are going to do you good. I think, like, as far as the Chinese stuff goes, I think Leofold is fine. I think the Loophole ones are great. I think Two Vets is awesome. I think Really Right stuff, obviously, I'm not going to talk smack on, except for they just cost a lot. So any of those, like, bigger style tripods like that are fine. I would avoid, like, the cheaper, like, you know, shooting advertised brands like Bog and stuff. I've seen some pretty wobbly, messy situations. I want to buy a pig light. That's what I started on with those click legs. I would avoid that kind of stuff. But for the most part, like, I think Leofold can't really let you down. That's what I've always run, and that's what I will continue to run. If somebody offered me more money, I wouldn't buy anything else, really. The Really Right stuffs are great. They're just, it's all semantics. It's all pretty much the same thing. So